Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Man, if this ain't a Monday, got a case of the Mondays. Good Monday morning to you. We here. We gonna be here anyway. What's happening? What's happening? Hey. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Ooh, buddy coming in crisp.
Hey, like butter.
Like butter, baby. Welcome, welcome. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Trying to do the same. On this particular Monday morning in February. See, Pops is up bright and early. What's going on, Pops? It's a good Monday morning, First Sky. Here we go. All right. That's right. Here we go. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners, all of you up early with us on this Monday, February 20th, 2023. Everybody on the radio channel as well. Appreciate you getting up early and jumping on my 6:30 crew. Let me know how the mix was. And welcome to a Monday. We all got the case of the Mondays today, but we're here.
Man, so, definitely feels like a Monday. Let us know how your weekend was, what you got into, what's going on in your worlds.
Yes.
How you doing? Yes. How you feeling?
Yeah. Good question, man. Judy Prince gives us a good morning. Good morning to you as well. Thanks for getting up with us this morning.
Yeah.
How you feeling today, buddy? I know you moving and grooving over there.
Yeah. I'm all right. Kind of got more into the flow of things today. Yeah, kind of just got a better awareness of my tech setup, and you know what I mean. So kind of was able to get more into that. Yeah, other than that, I'm all right. I guess looking forward to moving into my place. So that's kind of the energy that's been driving me over the last couple of days and things like that. Like, man, can't wait to just get it over with. Really, like, I had to move out. Now I gotta do the whole moving thing again. Not looking forward to that part, but and definitely looking forward to having my own space. And that's kind of where my mind is right now. That's where everything is going. But other than that, man, all is well. All is well. Can't complain. Still moving and grooving, as you mentioned. Hopefully everything is all right in your world and everybody's world out there. Did hear it's a President's Day today, so are you at work? Let us know what you got going on. How was your weekend?
It was busy, as always.
Yeah.
Just a lot of work.
Oh yeah, that too.
But really kind of couldn't catch up on rest. I don't know what's going on. Couldn't really catch up on rest this weekend. So I kind of zombied through everything I did. And kind of slept a little bit like on Saturday. I kept on sleeping at weird time, falling asleep at weird times and stuff like that. So obviously need a little vacation, a little real rest, a real genuine rest at some point, which I'm sure you can relate to.
Yeah, man. Rest is important, man. Like you think, I just work and I rest when I get this work done. And then waking up on the keyboard.
Work is never ending, bro.
Man.
It's never ending. You can't wait till it gets done because it will never get done. So
that part.
Pops in the chat said I almost all of my Japanese snacks are gone, even though they are supposed to last a month.
Yeah, okay.
Pops, yeah, Pops this box this like subscription service where they put a bunch of snacks in from a bunch of different regions in Japan and put it in this really nice box and send it out, and it's kind of like a little taste of all the regions.
Nice.
And
nice.
Yeah, and Pop's favorite place is Japan, and he's always talking about it. So I figured he might like that. And you already ate up all the snacks. I heard that. So yeah, well, you have to wait till next month now to see what the next box is gonna bring you.
Well, got about 10 days. Almost made it through the month. Almost,
Yeah,
man.
maybe. Well, I don't know. He just got it like last week, so I think he's got
No.
a whole month coming up. Josh Tag says, "Best of mornings to all." What's going on,
Hey,
brother Tag?
top of
I
the
forgot to
morning.
tell you, I saw him over at the. Did I tell you about seeing Josh at the waiting room?
No, I don't
Yeah,
think
a
you
couple of
did.
weeks ago. Yeah, it was nice to run into Chad Chimers in real life
Yeah,
for
as always,
right.
definitely.
So that was pretty good. Good fun. Good fun. We'll have to do some good fun stuff again. But that's really about it, man. I really did not do much but work and hang out this weekend. At the house, just kind of working and hanging out the house. I feel like I've missed. There was something that I was. Yeah, that's really about it. Really,
Yeah.
really about it. Yeah. Spent went and saw little man play his game on Sunday and all that. So
Okay.
yeah,
How's he doing? How's
he's
they
still
get W's?
no man. He's not. I don't know if he's with this, bro. I don't know. He's even his coach is like, well, he's an artist. Little man be out
Ah.
there looking around, just painting clouds in the sky when he's on the
Oh,
ball
yeah,
court,
yeah,
all
yeah,
coming down on
yeah.
his head and stuff. Like
Hey, at least you tried it. At least you tried it. That's the
and
important part.
it's funny because he's the tallest. Of course he's like the tallest one out there. Everybody else is like half his size, so he'd be standing in the center, and everybody think he's going getting with it, and he's just like, hey, oh, you want the ball? Go ahead. All right, cool. And then
You're not on my team. It's okay.
well, yeah, it doesn't matter whose team it is on, as long as everybody's having fun. So he'll
Yeah,
stand
yeah.
there and congratulate, yo, good shot, man. Look, bro, you're supposed to be guarding him, not giving him a high five for a good shot.
They say that's what's wrong with the professional sports now. They too nice, too nice. Everybody gets a participation
He's a
medal.
little zen out there, bro. He'll be out there dancing by himself and stuff.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny to watch, man. It's funny to watch, and then sometimes he's just like, I don't know how much fun this is. And so we have to call him over and be like, you still having fun, man? I don't know. Well, it's supposed to be fun. So the minute you ain't having fun, we can go. And he's just, I'll hang out a little. I'll play rock, paper, scissors with my teammate on the bench. That's what we'll do.
I'll just ride the pine for the rest. It's all right. It's all right. Oh man. Hey, but again, that exposure. How's he gonna know what he likes and he doesn't like unless he tries things? We
That's
kind of
real.
talked about that with all the programs that are available and should be available to children. And we'll
Yeah.
kind of get into that, as far as what's available for the youth out there. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's important. Expose them early, man. She's still doing the skateboard and stuff.
Yeah, man. Yeah, our partners over there at the what's the name of it?
Is that Rebel Mill?
Rebel Mill. Yeah. Yeah, we just talked about going out to Lincoln to see their big facility out there, but yeah, they still do that stuff, and he's all about the skateboard, and he likes that a lot. So yeah, exposure, like you said, he's homeschooled, so the other part of this is just being around other kids, which is a very important part of him going to basketball, going to
Yeah.
skateboard, all that stuff like the extracurriculars.
Yeah, that was
So
actually one of the main reasons we put my son in public school. He
yeah,
was basically homeschooled the first year or so we were here. But just being around the sisters all the time, like yeah, you need other kids. You need other
right.
kids, you need other friends. So yeah. It's a balance.
There it is. Pop says, I've been tearing it up. They're just so delicious, or or as they say in Japan, they are oishi. Is that right?
Okay. Oishi?
Oishi? Is that how you say it, Pop?
Oishi?
That's what's up. I'm anxious to try it too. I might have to get myself one. Josh Tate said, always good to run into you, Paul. We should hang soon for sure, man.
Nice.
Pops also said, well, we taught him to Zane. We taught Zane to share. Yeah, Zane, Zane be like, oh, you want the ball? Go ahead, man. You
Man, ain't
oh,
no
no,
thing. Ain't no thing.
go after the ball. You can see it on his face. He steps back like, I guess he really wanted the ball. Okay, well, do your thing, bro. And then he'll look around and see people watch and stuff on the court and all that. Man, he's an artist. Even his coach was like, well, you get something like that. Sometimes they just be aloof on, they're just an artist.
Yeah, yeah. He knows he get the one in the outfield with the butterflies. Just let the fly ball just land next to him.
I think that might be Zane, bro.
Hey,
You know, but it's funny, man, because like I walked him out to the car and then I was playing with him and I was like, come on, try to get the ball from me, you know, and now he knows what defense is and now he's round the back trying to get it and grab it.
Mm-hmm,
But it's
mm-hmm.
something about the context because he knows what he's supposed to be doing, but it's something about like, let me just check out these other kids out here because I don't hardly see kids, you know, whatever is going through his head. He's more interested in the people than the game. For real, like he's like he don't care about the game or the ball at all. He don't care about the ball at all.
Hey, as
All
long as he's having the ball, that's all that counts.
that's all it counts, man. Ariel's 402 coming in with the clutch old school lyrics.
Man,
Basketball is my favorite sport. Yeah, I like the way they dribble up and down the court. Sucker MCs.
hey,
That's what I'm talking about.
rah,
Come on, Ariel's 402.
the
On history of
mayor.
hip hop, the mayor. Hey, speaking of which, while we're just starting it up, let me grab my little hip hop
Yeah,
uh
yeah.
my 50 years of hip hop piece of trivia facts that you didn't know.
What you got?
Man, I lost the one I wanted to do too.
Oh, dang.
Yeah. I'll come back to it because I had a good one. I had a good one for you. I'll come back to it. But I will say this. There's so I've been digging real deep into of course like everybody is right now, De La Soul stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um
Rest in
and
peace.
there's only been a couple of albums out on Spotify and Tidal and all that because their first 6 has not been able to be released. This new deal that they just did right before Plug 2 died was a deal where they finally like the record company got sold their catalog to another company. Now that company's going to put out their first 6 albums finally.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been waiting all these years for the first 6 and it's finally happening, which is why it's such a tragedy. You know, True Boy the Dove passed away. So because they're getting ready to go back on tour and stuff over the first 6. You know what I mean?
Man,
Like it was huge. It's huge. That album is in the Library of Congress. The
really?
3 feet high and rising, bro. It's a legendary album. So the fact that they were about to be able to tour off of that kind of notoriety, it's a trip.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did that. I dug into that, and then I gotta say, man, on the while we talking about music for a second, Lil Yachty's album is out of control.
I saw that post. I saw and I heard you right? You said Lil Yachty, Lil Boat.
Lil Yachty. So here's how I suggest you do this. Go look at if you don't know nothing about him, go check out the first album, and then listen to what that is. You'll get what he's doing in a couple of songs, and then jump to the latest album, and you ain't gonna believe it's pretty amazing. I'll leave it. It's bro.
Man, the
It's
first person I saw a post on it was Questlove.
Questlove wrote a whole thing on the evolution on the fact that this cat has evolved to this next level with this album, and not just that he evolved, but the level of the album is like on some Pimp a Butterfly stuff.
Mm.
Yeah,
After listening to it, do you agree?
I agree.
Mm.
I agree, and I had just I don't know if I told you before, but I was like I had just been like, okay, that's it. I'll be giving these young this young hip hop a chance, and there's some of this stuff that I just can't get with. You just can call me old if you want to, but I'm not with it no more. And then Lil Yachty drops this, and I'm just like, man, the potential. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, if you yeah, check it out. I advise anybody who's into hip hop to check this out.
What's the name of
Anybody
it?
who's into music, just in general. I think it's called and we let's see. Let me find out just in case. But it's something like
Let's start
start
here.
here. Yeah.
Right.
I'm like this
Um,
cat right here, man.
yeah, I think I wouldn't even. Is it hip hop from what I listen? He's doing some singing, some melodies, and
I'm gonna
it's
call
like
it hip
real
hop.
vibey. I guess
I'm gonna
it's
call it.
not. It's not rap per se.
It's not rap, but it's called Let's Start Here. I'm gonna call it hip hop. I'm gonna call it like an evolution of hip hop.
Mm.
It's a little bit of an evolution on top of that. So yeah, check it out, man. I really want you to hear that if you haven't heard it yet. It's all the way like something to it's to be discussed. That's for
Okay,
real. That's
man.
for real.
Remember we used to do like album reviews and you know what I mean? Like definitely when Damn dropped,
Yeah,
played that forward and backwards.
I remember. Well, it was Lunchtime Live, man. Lunchtime Live was my favorite show on Mind and Soul because you guys
Mm.
was digging into the music so deep on that, you know. So it'd be nice if we had like another segment or music section or something that we can do. I mean, we're working towards that, but I can't wait to get to it, because it's like there's a lot of stuff passing us. To me, a lot of stuff that's going on in the music business is the culture. It is, you know what I'm saying? There's a really direct connection, especially out of Atlanta, especially in as far as the music business is concerned in Omaha. It's really relevant. It's not as relevant as the laws that are being passed and the things that are going on that affect your life personally, but some of it is on the same level because of the fact that it affects industry here. You know what I'm saying? It affects how you move with your money here, all kinds of stuff. So, when I think about places like Detroit that were so economically jacked up and had leadership that was corrupt and all the stuff, and then they took the factories out and the whole place just went downhill. And then you think about all the art and the artists that come out of a place, economically depressed place like that, and the programs and the things that they had to do and what they did in order to even make art. It's kind of all tied together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look at New York. We kind of talked about that, and the role that music played as far as spreading the information.
There you go.
So, yeah, it's definitely there.
Brother Muhammad says, "Assalamu alaikum, First Sky family."
Alaikum salam, brother.
Right on. Arrows 402 says, "I recorded. Hey, how you doing? Sorry, I can't get through. Why don't you leave your name and your number, and I'll get back to you as my voicemail recording. We all did back in the day, bro. Said made them hear it, leave a message. That's right. That was the one back in the day, holding your phone up to the speaker and let the song play. And then you come back, hey, this is Paul the Dove. Leaving me a message. Like all that stuff we did in the 90s. But that was like the number one everybody recorded.
Pre-ringtone era.
I'm gonna bring it back. We can still do it. We still got voicemail. We can still do it.
Yeah. Signatures and stuff.
Anyways, welcome. We do have some things to talk about today. It's going to be a pretty easy day. This is President's Day, I believe, and so it's one of these pagan holidays out here going on.
So, holy days.
Yeah, man. So a lot of people off work. We know this. A lot of people going to kind of sleep in this morning. That's cool. No special guests today, but we do got some things that we want to talk about to set up for this week, especially these bills that we want to try to arrange some rides for happening Tuesdays and Wednesdays and stuff like that. So we'll talk about that and then some. What else is on the agenda today, buddy?
I mean, that's kind of it, looking at these bills, and we're wrapping around a lot of articles that are tied to these bills and continuing conversation, especially about jobs. More information coming out about the airport business park that's going to be creating hopefully hundreds of jobs in the community. So we'll get an update on what's going on with that, of course, as a part of the larger conversation of LB 1024. So that's definitely one of the bills that we will continue to keep our eyes on and continue to, update ourselves on. Also looking at what's going on with the juvenile justice system. Of course, he spoke to Senator McKinney on Friday, put some respect on his name about some of the bills that he has coming up on Wednesday. So definitely some more things to look out. And I know a lot of people had questions about the juvenile justice portion as it relates to mental health and some of the facilities that's popping up in the community. And there are some more programs and other bills regarding mental health in relation to the youth. And we'll talk about that coming up as well. Also, speaking of the youth, I don't know if you remember this story at the meat packing plant about the kids that was working. Yeah, apparently there's some decisions that have been made on that case and some fines that have been laid down. So we'll get into that. And then, of course, I do want to hear more from the chat, man. Again, especially talking about the youth, if there's any programs that you might know about or that you might be interested in doing, please let us know. Again, big shout out to the Mayor Sanchez, for going down to the BAA, working with the youth down there, exposing them to drones, kind of getting into tech. That's definitely one thing that we're kind of pivoting to here on First Sky Omaha as well. So we'd definitely love to hear that from all of you. Without further ado, man, we're going to talk about all that and more. As always, if there's anything on your hearts, your minds that we're not talking about, feel free to drop that in the chat. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard. Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you, let's go.
Let's do it.
By the way, Vanguard.
What up? What up? What up? Thought the show was over there for a second, didn't you? Fat
Hit it with
finger
the fat finger.
Welcome to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
I'll be Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners, everybody who's tuned in this morning on this President's Day, I guess it is, February the 20th, 2023. And we welcome everybody that's on. Amy Huffless is giving us a hey, fam. Good morning to you. Thanks for jumping in. Appreciate it very much. We know that people have the day off today, and some people are sleeping in. So if you're missing any parts of this show, you can always come back and check it out in its entirety. Just check us out on the Facebook page or on the YouTube page as well. And if you're on YouTube, like and subscribe. I see a whole lot of YouTubers on now, so appreciate you guys very much for that. Brother Muhammad is on the Facebook page. If you're on Facebook, do us a favor and share the show on your page so that we can get as many people in the discussion as possible. And of course, it's a pretty easy Monday. It's a news Monday. We're going to talk about a few things that are in the news. No special guest today. Everybody kind of got the day off, so we're kind of just jumping back into some discussions that we had previously started before, and that you guys have been interested in talking about. And of course, we went and checked out Friends of First Sky Omaha. Lots of stuff going on Friends of First Sky Omaha. I just want to reiterate to everybody that jumps on Friends of First Sky Omaha that it's really not a place to do a bunch of teaching. If you have viewpoints that you want to teach, then you got to use your own page for that. Rather, it's a place for discussion as well. If you have a question you want to pose to the group, go ahead and do that and try to get into a discussion. But it's not a place to vent, and it's not a place to teach and teach your beliefs and things like that on that page. So it's one thing to when you're in a discussion, talk about what you believe, but it's another thing to use the page for instruction and all that type of good stuff. It's supposed to be an extension of our conversation that we're having here. So if we can use Friends of First Sky Omaha and use the chat in that way, just imagine that we're face to face and we're talking, and all the rules that apply to that. We're not going to talk over each other. We're not going to just bombard each other with our own thoughts. We're going to listen to what somebody else has to say and respond, and all the things we do in conversation. So just want to reiterate that for Friends of First Sky Omaha. I don't want it to get out of control. We definitely check it so that we can see what are some of the things that we want to talk about. Subjects to bring up is what that's for. So hopefully we can keep using it that way. And I just kind of want to reiterate that and make sure everybody understands like how we're doing things here. This is basically like a round table, 2 hour a day, 3 day a week round table with the community about the topics that are out there. This is what it is. This is what we're trying to do. And it's also a way for us to conversate so that we can get to some action points, which is really what we're about as well. So actions this week, definitely we want to talk about trying to get rides up to the legislature. Like Buddy was saying, we had Brother Terrell McKinney, put some respect on his name, up up here on the show on Friday, talking about what bills and things were going to be discussed this week. We definitely already are seeing. We try to pull them together this morning too, so we can talk about them. But we already see that there's some bills that could use some bodies on Tuesdays and use some bodies on Wednesday. And, if you're interested in the bills that are going up on Tuesday and you can't make it on Tuesday, then today, Monday, is the day that you got to write because you have to write 24 hours before the actual bill gets discussed. So even as of today, that needs to happen on some of these things. So we'll definitely jump into that. And then also, what's on your hearts and minds? Like Buddy always says, what's on your hearts and minds? Please let us know in the chat. Let us know what it is that you want to talk about today, and some stuff that's standing out that would make you get up on this holiday and come on the show and have some more discussion. So if it's important to you, it's important to us. We definitely want to say that. I did find my little 50 years of hip hop deal I wanted to jump into real quick because it's relevant since we just had the Super Bowl. It's a little known fact. Well, it's a big known fact, but a forgotten fact that Queen Latifah was the first hip hop act that ever performed at the Super Bowl. So
man,
that's pretty interesting. And something else I learned about the halftime show.
What's that?
Up until a certain time, I think it was like the 90s. Okay, so this is real crazy too. So one Super Bowl in the 90s. In Living Color, the comedy show with the Wayans brothers and all them.
In Living Color.
In Living Color did a concert and they timed it for halftime of the Super Bowl. And so many people turned the channel and went to go watch those performances, that the Super Bowl changed up the next year. And because before then the Super Bowl was all marching bands and all kind. It wasn't like a halftime show.
It was like a college bands and that type of halftime vibe.
Big time marching band stuff, all that type of thing was not a show. Like, so In Living Color forced the football to change up their halftime show, and so the very next year they booked Michael Jackson. He was the very first performer at a halftime show. So when you think about it, it's like Michael Jackson, Prince, Janet Jackson, Rihanna. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about the bigness of the artists that have come since then. And it's really understated. It's really a trip to think about that before that, because I don't even remember what a halftime show was before Michael Jackson. And there's a reason for that, because
there wasn't.
There's no halftime show. So I find that very interesting, and I find it very interesting there's been some hip hop acts that's been on stage for sure. And I find it interesting that Jay-Z has a lot to do with what goes on on the halftime shows now, as of that deal he signed a couple years ago. And then it's who's been on there since Jay-Z got in. You know what I'm saying? So it's been wild.
Had Dre in the star-studded, lineup last year.
Come on, man. Whole West Coast star-studded has been hip-hop ever since, to be real.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like Tanaya Patterson is saying right now in the chat, Black culture is pop culture. Mark Matter said, look up the halftime show with the Indiana Jones theme and Patti LaBelle. Is wild.
Okay. I'm going to have to look into that. Look into that. But yeah, man, I mean, I'd have to agree around the culture, or around the world, you know, as far as the influence that hip hop, not just the music, but the fashion, the dance, art, graffiti, street art, like it has influenced the world.
I mean, this is the year to discuss that. Like 50 years of hip hop is, something that everybody thought was a fad even 10 years after it was out. 10 years after hip hop started, they were still talking about it's not going to last. You know what I'm saying? And here we are 50 years later with it, and it's influenced all of some have said that hip hop, some of the elders like KRS, one of those guys who have been around the world and seen what's going on with hip hop around the world, say that hip hop is another race.
Yeah, well, it is. It's a full culture. It's a full culture. I think Nori of Drink Champs, he said that before, that he looks at hip hop as a race, and when he goes around the world and knows that there are people who consider themselves to be hip hop, to be of that culture, that there is a kinship that's just naturally there. Also, actually, speaking of KRS-One, we had KRS-One on the We Outside show, and he kind of explained like how the people, like, there's politicians now, there's people in the mayor's suite, there's people in business suites and C-suites around the world that grew up on hip hop. So the impact of hip hop and how they view the world, even in their respective roles, it permeates throughout all of it. You know what I mean? Like you look at some of the younger politicians that are coming out, it's definitely hip hop influenced. I mean, kind of look at what Obama did with his campaign, as far as his appeasing, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word, but how he attracted young people and approach social media the right way. Not how Trump did it with the propaganda, but actually using social media to approach and intrigue young folk. That's all hip hop culture.
I mean, he's all hip hop. Him dropping the mic that time, him him quoting Jay-Z lyrics, him hanging out with Jay. You know what I'm saying? Like all the shows that happen at the White House is all hip hop. It's like he was hip hop for real.
Man.
Here's something else that's really interesting about this. Busta Rhymes is blowing my mind with this one quote, and I'm gonna have to misquote it, but I'll give you the gist of it. But basically, he's saying hip hop is the only thing, not even like music genre, but only thing in the world that has provided jobs for people that don't mess with it. Think about that. People got jobs in hip hop that don't listen to hip hop, that don't like hip hop, but it's fed them.
And their families.
Because of the industry, right? It's a trip. Mark Manner in the chat, man, appreciate you. He says hip hop may end up being a stronger, more lasting form of music than rock music. I feel we're on the cusp of saying that with confidence. We got the study a few years back that it has outperformed rock and roll. It's the biggest genre in the world right now. So yes, now it's a matter of like long lasting, the time frame. How long is hip hop going to last in comparison to how rock and roll lasted? Rock and roll to me is so morphed into other genres of rock now that I don't is it even the same? I'm not sure. But same thing with hip hop. We're watching hip hop do an evolution on all kinds of different levels too.
But
So
when you think about it, like hip hop is a amalgamation of all of that, like the rock samples, jazz samples, soul samples, the influence that had on the DNA of hip hop. You know what I mean? Like it is all of it coming to a head.
that's true. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, that's a big part of it. The way that and the reason why people consider it a race. The reason why it has brought different cultures and different peoples together. The way that it has is because it's such an amalgamation of everything. It's such a remix of life. So that's what's up, man. I appreciate that. 4026 because it's bigger than hip hop. That's right. It's bigger than hip hop. Bigger than hip hop. Shout out to Dead Prez on that.
Yeah, sticking M8.
Hey, Brooke says, good morning. Good morning to you. We were just talking about little man out there looking at the clouds while he's playing ball. The dude. He's an artist. Tonight Patterson says rock has moved away from his black roots on purpose, of course.
I have when you get into it, when you really get into it.
Yeah, black rock is right. So I got a whole theory on that too, man, that we should talk about one day about how white culture will take something that black culture does and do what they do with it. How black culture will make up stuff like blues and then they'll move away from blues, but white folks will pick blues up and then take it and turn it into something else. And they do that pretty much with every genre. It would be interesting to see what they do with hip hop in when it comes to that point. And my whole side of the argument is I'm not mad at it. And this is very controversial in the black community for me to say that in a bunch of communities because it's because of the stealing factor. If it can be a thing where people, the creators, the originators of something get paid, get recognized and so on and so forth, then it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But I think there's a place for people who didn't originate something to take it, study it, break it down, turn it into a lesson, learn it, expand it, push it while the innovators are going off into another direction. I think there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think people necessarily hate Elvis. We just hate the fact that they try to act like he invented it. You know what I mean? Like he was
he's the king of it, right? He's the king of it.
Right. It's like I mean, he's cold, but
the people that he took it from didn't get paid for it. They didn't get recognized for it.
That part.
And white America took it and ran with it as if he was the king of it, which is wild. Plus, he was kind of a racist.
You know that part.
No, we don't really like Elvis. On top of all those points, just not to argue, not to.
I mean, but you get my point.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that the argument to me is that part is this interesting to me when I see jazz jazz is now like a studied art. These cats like Charlie Parker played it off the cuff and made it up, invented it. White cats came back and notated it, wrote it all down, figured out the science of it so they can replicate it. And I'm glad that it exists that way. There's generations that got to go back and look into what those scientists wrote down about the stuff in order to relearn it. You know what I'm saying? If that's what they want to do. But there's a lot of black folks, black culture in general is sometimes really just like, we hate that our youth they don't know this and they don't know that. I'm like, our youth is busy inventing things. They don't need to go back to the old stuff and relearn it. Our culture already made it happen that way. Let another culture take it and go with it and do something else. I mean, I get in arguments all the time with people about this subject. So my show, I'm going to say it. That's all.
On the soapbox.
If you want to argue with me about it, you know what to do. Come on into the chat. And we can have a talk. Tonight, Patterson says, they change it all around and then say it originated in some obscure country. Like stop, like that part, like acknowledge where it came from, pay the originators, Let those people have generational wealth on the stuff they invented, like everybody
Man.
else does with inventions.
That kind of reminds me of a conversation that we also going to have to get into at some point on this show. As we, try to pivot into Steam. AI. I'm hearing more and more about AI, chat GPT or something like that. I gotta look more into that app, but it's an AI app that's doing a lot of things. And the influence of AI on creators. I mean, we're technically creators here. This is, what I mean? This is a creative endeavor as far as media and what we're doing with this show, and the use of it, not just in media, but also music. Yeah, it's just a
Yeah.
conversation. I don't know how much of y'all are paying attention to what is going on with AI, but the world is going to change, man. Like Web3 is here, AI is here, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah. Brooke was asking about Culture House a little earlier. She says, off subject, but anybody know if Culture House is still set up as an indoor skate park? I do believe they have some skate facilities in the back there, along with the stage and stuff like that. I don't think it's a skate park per se, but they got a few
No.
little ramps and stuff like that back there, and I'm pretty sure they're still doing that stuff. We can go over and check it out though.
Yeah, I think they have like some makeshift stuff, but I don't think that the city would allow it to like stay as a permanent fixture, or to really operate as a skate park. But speaking of Marcy, man, he has a lot of plans and a lot of visions with that space that he has over there. Yeah, I mean, if Lil Man is interested in doing something like that, I do know that Marcy is in conversation also with I think his name is Mike and the people at Rival Mill in the Bay. So shout out to them. So yeah, there are conversations about that, and giving space for people in North Omaha to skate.
There you go. That's what's
I'm all
up.
for it.
Pops is saying, Paul, I agree 1000%. One of the reasons I appreciate the Rolling Stones is that they acknowledged and paid a homage to where it all came from and supported Black artists in America that America had forgotten. I didn't know about the support part. I know that they pay. I know that they were respectful and paid homage and stuff like that. But I didn't know that they supported them. I'm wanting to find out if the folks that they were influenced by got financially supported by that mega rock band. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to know about that part. They took their name is from Papa was a Rolling Stone. You know what I'm saying? Like their whole persona and their whole genre, their whole way. When you think about it, when you hear Mick Jagger sing, he's trying to sing like an old black man is singing. That's not his natural accent. So they've taken every piece from black rock. So how much have they actually really supported, monetarily and all those things? I really like to know. And Eros 402 brings it up. They're not an American band. That's true. So it's a different culture that is approaching that differently.
Yeah.
Pop says yes, they've given them gigs in Europe and stuff like that. That's what's up.
Okay.
Support where it comes from, man. I always said that about Prince too. When soon as Prince got to be Prince, he went back and got Mavis Staples and George Clinton and Maceo Parker and everybody who he was influenced by, brought them on stage, paid them, made albums with them, put them on. That's
how
what
you do it. That's how you pay it forward.
Yeah,
that's how it's supposed to be done. That part.
Eros Roll 2 says it's a digital world. The government will feed us what they want while they govern from space. Space Force is a real thing.
It is. It's actually based in Nebraska, or at least they try to base it in Nebraska, right up the road.
Let us know anything that's going on in culture that you feel like is interesting. Let us know your relationship to hip hop. This is a good year to talk about it. The 50th year of hip hop is upon us, and they'll be celebrating 50 years, and we'll be talking about a lot of things that have changed, a lot of things that are different. And how's it influence you, even if you don't listen to it? I've asked people that I work with recently, you into hip hop? No, I'm not really into it. Okay, well, that quote that Busta Rhymes said is really interesting to me. Even people that don't like it, they've been eating off of it. They've been getting paid. They had jobs with it. So interesting stuff. Kyle Eustace is a writer from Omaha that has been writing for hip hop. In the hip hop world for years and years and years now, has every connection in the world because of her respect for it. And it's always interesting to talk to somebody who likes all genres of music, all kinds of different music, but understands that there's nothing like the American form of hip hop, and how important it is to the culture and how important it is to the world. And writing about it with that kind of reverence every time you get a chance, and feel like you're talking to scholars when you're interviewing people like KRS-One and stuff like that. Like they are scholars of the culture, which means that they're scholars of the world.
Oh, they're literal scholars. I mean, many of them teach at schools. like Blue Pages did a lecture at MIT. Ninth Wonder is a professor, I believe, at North Carolina Central. I know Bun B, he's a professor at a university in Houston. Like I want to say Rice University. Yeah, man. Like it gets deep, man. I know KRS-One has handed down many lectures and still continues to give lectures on his digital platforms. And it gets deep, man. Check out the Black Dot on YouTube if you really want to see, how deep hip hop can get. It's more than just the music. It's a school of philosophy. I mean, look at Wu-Tang.
Right. What's it called?
The Black Dot. It's a brother on the internet who has a very interesting perspective on the spirituality of hip hop.
Wow. Okay, I have to check that out. Speaking of which, the Wu-Tang, the next season of Wu-Tang is on Hulu. Have you started watching it yet?
not yet, but I'm caught up. I'm gonna definitely jump on that. I did see the promotion for that. Also, speaking of promotion, I did see in Omaha, and we're talking about continuing with this ode to hip hop. Shout out to Michelle. Shout out to the Benson Theater. I know that that concert went down over the weekend. The hip hop concert. I saw Light Pole on the stage doing this thing. Yes. So yeah, shout out to everybody that graced the stage. I know Ty Lynn was out there, or not? Was it Ty Lynn? Yeah, Ty Lynn and her band. Yeah. So yeah, shout out to everybody that performed and everybody that was in attendance. If any of the chat timers check that out, let us know how was your experience.
Love that. 7:42 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, you're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Oh, I stepped all on your line too, man. It is the 20th of February. It is the day. It is President's Day out in the world. We don't really celebrate that, but we're here to discuss more of the issues and topics that we've been discussing, and definitely want to talk a little bit about these bills coming up too, because kind of the point of today is to get everybody fired up who can show up and show up in person on Tuesday and Wednesday at the legislature to back some of these bills that Senator Terrell McKinney and others are putting out there. So you want to take a quick break and come back and talk a little bit about those?
Yes, sir.
Let's do it, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Again, Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners. We'll be right back, y'all. Stay tuned. Turn some music on here in a minute. There we go. Welcome back. First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, all of you ghost listeners. That's Pop's theme right there. Every time it comes on, it makes me think about the revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be televised, brothers.
Okay. I can see that.
You will not be able to stay home, brother. The revolution will not be televised, especially when the flute kicks in right there.
Man, little Gil Scott on them.
Yeah, man, that's what's up. Appreciate that. Thanks, Pops, for the track. Once again, listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, and man, yeah, we got to get into it because man, we're all artists here, and I really appreciate the fact that there's a lot of artists and art that goes on in this camp. We need to go ahead and make a mixtape and have all the all the musicians jump in. Have Mayor Sanchez drop a verse. Have Brooks do the artwork on the album cover. I mean, like we go all out.
I know you remember the 72-hour album challenge.
Yeah, I remember the challenge. I remember that we got to go ahead and edit that album one day. One day. Yeah,
I don't even know. I think the files are on my old laptop. I think
we all got the files, bro.
Man, yeah, I think Black Excellence has some.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's something that I wanted to continue each year, and I hopefully once this year passes and we are doing all the stuff that we're trying to do, we can get to some of those kinds of things that involve people more on some of these art pieces and some of these news pieces and some of these political pieces that we're talking about. Like it's really about moving towards this point of action all the time with us. So that's what's up. Mark Manner says, I saw Daryl McDaniels give a talk. It was super inspirational. Okay, that's what's up. I'm not sure if I know who's Daryl McDaniel. Oh, you talking about
DMC?
DMC? Oh, okay. Man, you gotta say DMC.
Come on, man.
His government name. That's Daryl. Daryl Mack. Even if you said Daryl Mack, I would be like, yeah, man.
DMC, man.
Run DMC was my biggest influence. I don't know if I ever told you that, but they're one of my biggest influences of all time, bro.
Really?
The one year, 1984. I can't remember how old was I. I was 11 in 1984. And it was all about Purple Rain and Run DMC Raising Hell. Those are the two tapes that I had, and that's all I had, and that was all that was on the boombox all the time. And it was really kind of like I remember that being a pivotal point of which it was just like, am I gonna put eyeliner on, or am I gonna put Adidas on? It's, you know what I'm saying? Like it was one of the things. And DMC Run DMC won. I went with the shell toes and the t-shirt and the Lee jeans and all that after that. So
the jackets.
Yeah, but it was a highly influential year, and I had one record which was Fat Boy's first album, and I remember trying to scratch on that record all year and listen to Purple Rain and listen to Raising Hell. That was it. That was life. That was life that summer.
What a time.
Anyway, Brooks said, first time I ever seen Run DMC was on Reading Rainbow as a kid. Yeah, they were on Reading Rainbow, bro. I still got I had the videotape. I taped it on video when they came on. I was so into it.
Pop said, I'm glad Adidas won out.
Yeah. Because them cats went real androgynous during that
game.
Yeah, it's just like, man, I mean, I love Prince and Purple Rain and all that, but I ain't with the I'm not with the, can't do it. Can't wear the blouses.
Now with the chaps.
Couldn't do it. But yeah, man, it's interesting. It's just interesting to look back on stuff like that, like what influenced you and all that. Wanda Lewis said my first hip hop memory was Curtis Blow. Right, man. Yeah, man, Curtis. I mean, he was like a superstar. He was a superstar when he came out. Straight up superstar. Like just like anybody who's like a Michael Jackson. He was a trip.
Yeah. I mean, he was before LL, you know.
That's what's up. What else is going on here? Tonight, Pastor says I got my headphones on. I'm just saying in the morning with Buddy, and my mom looked at me like I was crazy.
In the morning, gotta let them know we here.
When I talk to people about the show outside, especially when I run into Chap Chimers, they all sing it like that too. By the way,
really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I was listening in the morning. Everybody loves the hook.
Glad y'all like it. I just did it. Just came out that way.
There it is. Speaking of coming out, it's already we're 10 minutes into the first 10 minutes before the second hour already.
Halfway through the show.
Yeah, man. It's supposed to be News Monday. Let's get into some news. We appreciate everybody floating around with us and talking about some of these things.
Yeah.
That we also feel that these are very relevant too. He said I sing it in my store by myself. That's what's up.
Just be organizing records in the morning. Hey, that's how you know it's infectious. Gets the people going.
We got to make a song out of it. Put it on the first mixtape.
Okay. I'm with it. Definitely appreciate y'all. Yeah. Oh yeah. Wax streaming, VHS.
Now we
however you need it.
put it on wax and then go to Homer's and have a record release party and all that good stuff.
That's actually an idea.
Do a live stream outside the building. You know what I'm saying? Right.
Man, that'd be fun. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
That'd
man.
be fun.
We've been talking about it. Because that's the kind of stuff we've been working on trying to get to do all this time.
Yeah.
Like get out of the void and go to some spots that we frequent and partner up. So see, Mark Manor's already with it. Brooke, he's at Homer's. Mark Manor works at Homer's. So yeah, we talking about going to the record store and doing something. That's what's up, man. That would be fun.
Yeah. Also, actually, before we get into the news, and I did see that speaking of partners and places we frequent, there was a passing recently. Is that
yes,
Naughty Buddi?
Yeah, man. Fatima passed away. Still don't know what happened, and it's not the kind of thing I'm gonna ask nobody, but yeah, because I don't know if you guys know, but Naughty Buddi Burger Bar was owned by a black couple, and the husband had to put a post out saying that she passed in her sleep unexpectedly. So not like I said, don't know how, don't know what happened, but man, she was such a vibrant and full of life person that it was very, very, very like what it was one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hard to speak about, man. That was a tough one. That's a yeah. They do have a GoFundMe. Like I said, this is a very unexpected thing that happened. I'm gonna go ahead and put the GoFundMe in the chat if you guys want to help that out. I've had many a meeting, took a lot of folks over to Naughty Buddi, man. Introduced a lot of folks over there. Like I said, the only black-owned vegan restaurant in the city, and they were just nurturers, man. She was always just like, you got that? Let me get this for you too. Let me, you need this. We trying to feed people for life here. We're trying to give people life. That's what it was all about. So, yeah, heartbreaking, man. It's a heartbreaking situation. I don't even know what else to say about it. Just those brothers. Let's keep frequenting their establishment. They're gonna keep on, going on with the mission and doing what they do. And heartbreaking, man. Heartbreaking. These are partners. These are people that we were talking about doing some shows and doing some things with because they were, they have a facility there, and they also have an ice cream shop there as well, like 2 doors down. They had a rooftop. They had a basement area. They wanted us to do some shows there too, like do a show on the roof. We still might do some of that stuff, man. I mean, we just got to see. I mean, I know the brother's in shock right now.
Yeah, definitely want to give them some time. But if they do decide, and hopefully they do, to keep moving forward. Hopefully, please, y'all in the community, go support Naughty Buddi Burger Bar, man. So, man, and it's good food. It's good food. It's not just cool people in the community, but it really is good food that gives life. So, yeah.
I appreciate you reminding me to say something about that, man. That's
that's a tough one. It is, but again, the team over there at Naughty Buddi, we definitely look at it as part of the squad, part of the community, man. So, when one part of the community, passes and suffers, we definitely want to acknowledge it and send our peace. So definitely love, condolences, all of that to the family, and prayers going up.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well,
you looking for the GoFundMe? Is that?
Yeah, no, I was just looking at his post again. Just man, just it's a sad situation. So rest in peace. Unexpected situation, man. That's really, really hard. Wasn't like she was sick, this unexpected situation and sad.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, no, I put the GoFundMe in the chat already. So if you guys can kind of help out with that would be really great. They were the kind of couple that was working. He'd be in the back cooking, she'd be in the front talking, and also cooking, and also also prepping, and also doing stuff. They'd be constantly working, and they'd be working in there 6 days a week, man. Monday, morning till night, just trying to keep the place open, just trying to keep the place relevant. Just they open up during COVID, so they've been struggling since they started. You know what I'm saying? working. I remember when they were asking us, do you guys know anybody who would like to work here? We need to start hiring some folks and get them in here and help us out here because we really need the help. Kind of put the word out. They finally got some folks in there. We're kind of thriving, kind of can take a day off, that type of thing. So yeah, they were on the upswing. They were looking at spots in Lincoln to open one up, and so this happened. It's just really, really, really tragic. So anyway, yeah, they were just good people, squad, fam, and so yeah, we want to try to help them out, man. He was not expecting this, and we want them to make sure that he keeps the restaurant open and everything, especially now in her honor for sure. So please hit that GoFundMe and help them out on the burial piece. They just they did not have any preparation for this at all. It was just too unexpected of a situation. So yep. I'll go ahead and move on from that. I didn't mean to, I appreciate you reminding me to bring that up for sure. Yeah. I just talked to Beth on the radio channels listening to us right now. She says that Naughty Buddha had just opened a place in Lincoln too. So I guess they got that place open.
Okay.
So yeah. So yeah, that's
man. Shout out to the radio listeners chiming in the chat as well. I definitely appreciate y'all. But yeah, shout out to also the Lincoln listeners. If you're out there in Lincoln, go check them out. Go check out Naughty Buddha and let's support. But yeah, with that, let's keep it moving.
Yeah, let's keep it moving, man. We'll come back to what Ariel's 402 is talking about. I like this idea about a flatbed truck. We're talking about what's going on in Juneteenth. We're also talking about what's going to be happening with Native Omaha Days and how First Sky Omaha is going to have a lot to do with Native Omaha Days this time around, and what we're going to do about that. So we'll get into some of that and start pulling folks with us, man. Volunteers, Mayor Sanchez, we're going to need you in the drone for coverage on that.
Man, that'd be nice.
Let's start talking. Yeah, man. Let's start talking. Between time, man, let's go ahead and get to it. It is 7:57 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we're already almost to the second hour and just now starting some news. But appreciate you guys.
Hey, it's Monday.
It is Monday, man. It's a loose Monday. It's a holiday for everybody. And we have no guests. So we get to kind of stretch out today a little bit and talk about some things that's on our hearts and minds as well. And love that you can talk about things on your hearts and minds too. Please continue to do so. But we do got a few things to go over, a few important things coming up this week. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Buddy, what's on the agenda?
Man, well, first of all, looking at the bills, again, shout out to Senator Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on his name for hollering at us on Friday and letting us know that there is some work to be done as far as our civic engagement. That's one of the main things that we're trying to motivate and mobilize to do. And Tuesday, Wednesday, and actually Thursday, there are several bills being proposed, but one of the bills we definitely want to keep an eye on is LB 53. Shout out to Senator McKinney. That's going to be open for debate tomorrow, I believe. Wednesday. I'm sorry, the 22nd, not tomorrow, but the 22nd, Wednesday, LB 53 to create El Hajj Malik El Shabazz Malcolm X Day. Of course, we're talking about today as a holiday, and we're definitely fighting for again El Hajj Malik El Shabazz Malcolm X Day and establish a real holiday in the state of Nebraska, who's just now recognizing Malcolm X and inducting him in the state's Hall of Fame. Of course, the foundation has been doing the work, but let's be honest, they haven't really received much support or really resources from the state. So hopefully this will change that. Also, I do believe OPA, are they still holding their series on Malcolm X, the conversations that they were having?
I'm not sure.
I have to look back into that, but I believe that's an ongoing series. So we'll look back into that as far as the information. But I know they had the event, they had the show, but I do think that was an ongoing conversation that they were hosting. So again, shout out to the Malcolm X Memorial Foundation, who I know is a part of that. But also shout out to Senator McKinney. Again, El Hajj Malik El Shabazz Malcolm X Day. It's just a tragedy that there's not a holiday for Brother Malcolm, knowing, the work that he's done, what he means to not just African Americans, but really the world. Definitely need that.
And of course, why we're bringing this up too is because, again, we want to reiterate and stress that the senators are saying the best support that you can have is to show up in person and give a personal testimony about whatever the subject is. This right here, if you believe that Malcolm X Day should be established as a holiday here in Omaha, in Nebraska in general, then definitely go and help him by going up Wednesday. That's February 22nd. That they're going to talk about that at 1:30. And it's going to be at the Veteran Affairs Committee, room 1507. And you can go check that out. Go in person and go up, stand up and speak, and let them know what it means to you to have found out that Malcolm X is a person who was born in Omaha, Nebraska, and what that means for Nebraska, and so on and so forth. So definitely go check that out. We'll put the legislative calendar in the chat as well for you to check out all of the bills, and but be able to really kind of get a grasp on when and where and what, so that you can do that. I'll go ahead and put your deal up as well here. Let me get rid of the graphic. And Buddy is showing the calendar here.
Yep. So as you can see a full month ahead. Like you can see a full month of the hearings. So of course people have to work. You can't always take so much time off, but you can see March is already planned out. You can plan ahead. Let's plan ahead. Let's come together. If you need a ride out to Lincoln, there are resources. I believe even if you need, there's food that's passed out on those days. Shout out to the Nebraska Civic Engagement Table. There's resources that they are providing for people who want to go give comment. So there are people out there willing to help you, but this is something that we need. This is something that, as far as we got to just get used to and wrap our minds around, as far as continuing the conversation. And that's why it's important, personally to me. We can't just say vote, 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 and that's it. We have to give a full picture of how we can engage civically year round, and there are ways we can do that.
Yeah, and so that you don't get overwhelmed by all these dates that are on this calendar here. In particular, of course, certain bills are going to be talked about on certain dates, and that's why we're trying to highlight the ones that we are trying to highlight. So we start off with the ones that our partners, Brother Terrell McKinney and Senator Justin Wayne, are speaking on, and the ones that they are introducing, and the ones that their colleagues are introducing, because that's probably more of like what's like-minded. As far as we're concerned, as far as you, the Chad Chimers and constituents are concerned as well.
Actually, can you put it back up real quick? Just to your point, when you go to this, all you have to do is click on the day that you want to go. So pick a day that might work for your schedule, and then there's all the bills that are in every session for that day. So as you see, there's a lot of bills, but pick the one that is relevant to you in your life.
And like I said, if you don't, there's 800 bills. So if you don't, so listen to the curation that we're trying to bring here on some of these things, through us having conversations with the senators directly on which ones that they're trying to push, because especially those senators kind of need help when they're in a room full of opposition all the time. So this is a good way to do it. Yes, pick your day and then check out and see what's going on that day. But it's also a good way to do it, to pick your bill and find out which day that's on and make arrangements to try to go and do that there. So couple different ways we can do it, and we're going to try to bring some clarity to some of those things as well. The first thing I do when I go look at these things is go to Terrell McKinney's page, because he'll put these up, just like he put this LB 53 up, and shows what day and all that. And here's another one that's on his page as well, February 21st, which will be tomorrow.
Yep.
Some of these are very important here. This LB 171, he's got LB 224 here, and LB 629, which he talked about when he came onto the show on Friday. Income Workforce Housing Investment Act. So this is about some housing that he's talking about, provisions for Middle Income Workforce Housing Investment Act. I think is pretty important. We talked a little bit about on Friday, but those are happening on February 21st, starting at 1:30. And also, this room even tells you what room to go to, room 1510. Here, okay, you got here. We'll put this up too as well. There it is from the actual site, Nebraska Legislature. And remember, if you can't make it in person tomorrow, today's the day to write letters to.
All you have to do is click.
There you go. That's what. Yes, thank you. They make it real easy. You got a real long bar there just to submit comments. You can go ahead and you can write it right there. Buddy, can you grab that? You already this is the one you just grabbed, but can you grab that particular page and so we can put it in the chat, so we can get to that?
Yeah, what was that bill number again?
I believe it was 6. Let me see. Let me pull up the graphic one more time. 629. Yep. 629, and we'll get that link and put it right in the chat so you can write today. Brianna Full in the chat. Good morning. She says don't forget to bill a bill to increase affordable housing. LB 629. Is that the one we just talked about?
Yep. That's it.
Yeah.
This
Cool.
is it.
Okay, so we're gonna give you a link right to that. And again, if you can't make that tomorrow, then today's the day to hit that link, hit that long bar there that Buddy just pointed out. Submit comments online for LB 629, and write. It's easy as that, man. Just click it, write it, and it's easy as that. So most definitely do that if you can't. But again, we want to stress, if you got time to go up tomorrow 1:30, go to Lincoln, and bodies in the chamber is where it's all what it's all about, really, in your testimonies. And they say your personal testimony, how you personally feel about these things, are the things to talk about. Brianna Full says it says middle income workforce housing, but it's for low to middle income housing development. Okay. Sweet, good thing to know. So there you go. We'll keep talking about it. Are there some other bills we need to be looking at, buddy, that you got lined up?
Yeah, one of the other ones that definitely jumped out to me that I wanted to continue the conversation on was LB 339, which deals with the youth. I think I have to go back. Yeah, here it is. Provide for confidentiality for prosecutions and adjudications of minors, extend jurisdiction. Again, this deals with youth being transferred out of the state. Decisions being made without any kind of consultation, really any kind of consideration at all of the parents. And I did wanted to dive in, not to just LB 339, but a few other bills that were addressing just the general issue and topic of juvenile justice, mental health in the youth and in the community. Of course, we've seen many mental health facilities popping up, specifically in North Omaha. If I'm not mistaken, I think there's like 3 different facilities popping up. Of course, you have the Juvenile Justice Center, the kid jail, as we're calling it, downtown. And of course, you have the mental health facility that's popping up in 50th and Grand. And I do believe there's another facility being planned and discussed, I believe, with the partnership with UNMC. So, again, a lot of money and resources being poured into the youth, being poured into juvenile justice. And yeah, I just want to look into this article. Talking about, again, what's going on with DCYC, what a lot of parents are going through, again, kind of giving that important personal aspect and story and background and context of the real life implications of some of these bills, some of these laws, and some of these situations. I'm just going to read through this article really quickly. It says Nebraska's juvenile court judges would have a new option teenagers who need mental health treatment, short of sending them to a detention facility like the new kid detention, or DCYC, under a pilot program being proposed, considered by the legislature. Parents of wayward teens would have an advocate to help them navigate the state's juvenile justice system under a related bill. As current law, many parents complain that the people deciding the fate of their children hardly consider the parents' input. And again, as Senator McKinney laid out, big shout out to him. Not students, but youth, kids aren't being just sent out to Kansas, to Missouri, to neighboring states. They're being sent out, reaching across the country, as he said, Arizona, Illinois, Philadelphia, a lot of places where these families can't get to their children. So
that's messed up.
It is. It really is. So big shout out to not just Senator McKinney, but also senators like Senator excuse me. I missed the senator's name, but LB 473 would spend $12 million to create an inpatient mental health facility, which is a middle step for youth who break the law between the system's current options, which provide troubled teens with mental health treatment while living at home, or confining them to a juvenile detention center. So there's kind of the 2 options of either being bedridden, being at home, or going to DCYC and kind of getting the lack of services that are there currently. So
this is a middle thing that they're after right now. Like, you're either home or you're locked up, or there's this middle area that they want to try to put in place here. Is that what that's about?
Yes, and that's LB 473, which will be an inpatient mental health facility.
I don't know, man. I get this. It's a lot of beds and a lot of facility. When I hear facility, I hear
And I mean, I have relatives who, suffer from like schizophrenia. Well, I don't want to say suffer, but well, I mean, it kind of is a suffering. But they deal with schizophrenia and things like that. Um, and I'm not completely adverse to you know bed type situations, as long as they're not driving drugs down the kid's throat, which unfortunately is kind of the part for the course when you think of those types of
You
situations.
you ain't gonna get no bed without getting no drugs with it.
It's a good point. It's a good point. But even on top of that, the fact that a lot of these situations require cases is the big thing,
Yeah.
and that's what I'm looking for as far as resources for families, to keep the families together, and
Yeah.
which is
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
well, you can go ahead.
It was you mentioned that the other day. It's kind of laid out that way. Like you can't even get help unless you in the system, unless you got arrested, unless you get in trouble. Then you can
Yeah,
get some resources, right? And what
yeah.
we needed to be, you get the resources before you get in trouble. You know, you be in the system before you get these resources, right?
I mean, it goes just to the whole conversation of being reactionary versus preventative.
Right.
And a lot of the finances, a lot of the resources are poured into the back end, poured into the reaction, rather than what's needed to prevent people from acting this way in the first place.
Right. Ariel's 402 says for every dollar spent of incarceration, there should be a dollar spent on prevention, a dollar spent on rehabilitation, dollar for dollar.
The mayor, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. He also Oh, okay. Okay. I think he was talking about the Malcolm X bill. He says it would also be interesting to see who other cities celebrate by giving them a day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I like this idea. He got a step by step booklet for you to get your vote on track and not your wig pushed. uh,
Okay. Okay.
I do feel like that. Where I always feel like every time we are trying to like curate some bills and talk about what action could be taken, try to make it easy for people to see how to go comment or how to get up there. That we're kind of putting a guide together on some of these steps, and I'm sure there's got to be some out there already, but maybe it's just in the style that it needs to be discussed or brought to people. Maybe something needs to change up. Who knows? I don't know,
Well, I
but
mean, it's the information. That's what we're doing, and that's kind of what this article is talking about. Both not just LB 473, but also LB 435, which again is the bill that would offer a kind of a agent or a work between for
mm,
somebody to again help families, not just the young people, but the families navigate through the juvenile justice system, just the system in general. I mean, the health system, the juvenile justice system, a lot of us don't know how to navigate through it, and we need help, and the information isn't there, which
yeah,
is again why this bill is necessary.
interesting. What say you? Love your comments over here in the chat. Definitely chime up and let us know what you think about these things, these bills. Are these bills inspiring you to go help push them?
Hmm.
What are some of the things that would make you say, all right, let me get up and go drive down to Lincoln and go speak my piece on this and go back to the senators? What would it take? What kind of things do you feel like is affecting your life? Does this particular thing not affect your life, or does it affect your life? I'm just kind of putting it out there for you to kind of ask yourself, really. But you can discuss it with us too if you want to. Like what would be the thing? Sometimes my mind goes to, let me go down there and support everything that these brothers are doing. But I kind of look at these bills and see if any of the do I really care about this particular situation here, or
Hmm.
especially when you got to like figure out how to navigate your own time and your own how much support you do and all that. So that we're just trying to put it out there. Everybody got to kind of be grown and make their own decisions about what they're going to do. But highly encouraged to look at these things and see what applies to you. See what you respect about what the senators have put forth, the reasons why, and just understand that that's not going to happen, or if it's something that you need to not happen, fight. It's just not going to happen unless we go up and show and show support for all these things personally. So there you go. Benjamin Franklin said, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. More money needs to be put into prevention." Pops, along the same lines as what we're thinking and talking about as well, would very much help if people got support before somebody got in trouble. It really would help. But if you're a city that is more about I think about this being a red state, and they just want all the freedom in the world, do anything and flip all out and do what you want to do and shoot up the place and do everything. So because in the name of freedom, but if you do that, then we have a whole bunch of facilities to put you in after you do it.
Yeah, and building more.
And building more. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah. But again, shout out to Senator McKinney and yeah. If this is not something that's kind of impacting on your life, again, please check out the 800 bills. There's something that's impacting your life. So again, civic engagement, but definitely again continue the conversation that we're having with the senators, and pay attention to curation.
I gotta. Oh, I'm sorry. Before you move on, real quick, I was just thinking about that too. That brother Justin Wayne, when he came on week before last, he was like talking about bills that are sexy and bills that aren't.
Right.
And I always think about that too. Like, well, let me look a little deeper into these things, because I could just be jumping on the sexy ones. But let me see what let me see what else is out there that's kind of affecting. You kind of start with your life. Where are you at? If you got issues with paying for your health, then there's something in there. Somebody's in there probably pushing some kind of bill to help you get better health care, or try to take it away. Maybe you better start where you're at, and go into those 800 bills and try to look and see what's happening.
Actually, speaking of that, we do have an article on Medicaid. If that's in your avenue, if that's impacting your life, if that's something you're dealing with, you might be at risk. According to Omaha World Herald, many as 80,000 Nebraskans could lose their Medicaid coverage now that the federal COVID-related public health emergency is expiring and the pandemic era protections are ending quite effectively. Although COVID is still around, people are still catching and being hospitalized by COVID. I guess it's looking like the pandemic itself is officially coming to an end. Some will be dropped because they are making more money at work, found a job with health benefits, had children move out on their own, or have gone through other life changes. However, state officials and community health advocates worry that others may be kicked out of the program, even if they still qualify, because state Medicaid workers won't be able to reach them for newly resumed eligibility reviews. They have launched efforts to prevent people from falling through the cracks, but again, some 80,000 might be at risk. Kevin Bagley, who's the state Medicaid director, says the biggest thing is we really, really, really want to make sure we're not dropping anybody from coverage who's still eligible. During, of course, the pandemic, Congress required states to keep everyone on Medicaid. Again, required states, and that's very important because, Ricketts and, of course, most likely Pillen in their stands on Medicaid. Again, Nebraska had Medicaid for several years, but Ricketts kicked the can down the road. And as soon as, Medicaid finally opened just in the last couple of years for Nebraska residents, now we might have about 80,000 or so falling through the cracks. The move was intended, of course, to ensure as many people as possible had health coverage during the pandemic. But now that those protections are being lifted, what does that mean? What does that mean for the average person, especially those of you who did find better jobs, higher paying jobs, or just, again, life-changing situations throughout the last 2 or 3 years? Under pressure from Congress, President Joe Biden did announce last month that he was ending, again, COVID emergency as of May 11th. So again, the deadline is coming May 11th, and that effectively set off a set of dominoes of the national unwind process, if you will, under which states must start reviewing Medicaid recipients again as they did pre-pandemic. States will have to contact every person on their Medicaid rolls and verify their eligibility over the next 12 months. And again, I reiterate that Ricketts has had a pretty hard stance on Medicaid and, just being very tight on helping those who are, possibly in need. I'm not hearing much from Pillen as far as his stance on that, but being the relationship between Ricketts and Pillen and the support that Pillen had received from Ricketts, I don't think that it would be too much of a deviation from the par of the course that we have had in Nebraska. I mean, it could be harder for Nebraskans to get Medicaid moving forward.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be worse. I think he's gonna go even further than Ricketts went.
Really?
Stuff, but I can start with the fact that he'll probably do what Ricketts did, and then he'll really have to try to prove otherwise if he's gonna do something different. as far as Pill is concerned with me, and I actually have a feeling that he's going to go even further than Ricketts went on a whole bunch of stuff. So you know what it was jumped out about to me about these things is that we are hearing everywhere. You know, I've been talking to a lot of the black media companies as well. 95.7 The Boss always talks about COVID, us still being here with COVID. The Ernie Chambers show has got some pieces out that are really talking about COVID is still here with us. Even the cats of Charles Drew are saying that a lot too. So that COVID is still here with us, and the big news is that in May they're going to take the state of emergency away from it. We're saying it's not going to be a pandemic anymore, but of course we know this is not just stuff that is said. What happens when you take it out of that status is a whole bunch of funding goes away, a whole bunch of resources get taken away. And now we got to kind of look back and say, well, what resources have I been benefiting from for the last couple of years that's about to get taken away that I count on?
Yeah.
And that's what this means.
Yeah, you definitely have to pay attention. You definitely have to perk up and see what's going on. And although the emergency is going to be lifted as of May 11th, as far as the national COVID emergency, reviews in Nebraska will start on March 1st. So we have about a week and a half before the state begins reviewing Medicaid recipients, and that goes with some possibly losing coverage as of April 1st. So even before that May 11th deadline, we could be seeing some changes to the Nebraskans' Medicaid coverage. Again, March 1st, that's 8 days.
So we got to I feel like we need to take a look at this or have somebody on that can tell us what these changes are going to be, because Medicaid was here before COVID. What changed during COVID with your Medicaid coverage is one question. And then what changed, and then what's going to be taken away?
Well, the big thing, as a part of the emergency, states were required to offer coverage. So that's why they weren't reviewing because if you apply, the state is required to give it to you. But now that requirement is being lifted because it's no longer an emergency, those who may not have qualified, prior to and have just been receiving the benefits throughout might be dropped. But I think the big thing that I'm getting from this article is those who might still actually qualify, whether you might actually have qualified before the pandemic, after the pandemic, during the pandemic, and you still might be dropped as a part of this unwinding process that they're calling it. So that's one of the main concerns that I'm seeing. And I would definitely love to speak to somebody from Charles Drew who might have some more insight on that information.
Yeah, we'll hook that up. We'll definitely looking into getting some special guests next week for all the things that we've been talking about here too. And I'll get a hold of Kenny McMorris again and see if we can bring him on, talk about a few things besides the pandemic situation. But good things to look out for if you're on it, or if you got family members that are on it. Now we got to really pay attention to what's here, what's getting taken away, and what's not.
Yeah. Again, if you have any questions on that, or if you're just unfamiliar or unsure about where you might fall in this, this article does say that people can check and update their information by logging into their Access Nebraska account. So again, if you're familiar with that, or you can call toll free to 855-632-7633. Again, that's 855-632-7633. So again, if you are on Medicaid, you can definitely check your Access Nebraska account or check out the number that we just posted in the chat for more information. Also, on top of that, it is stating that the workers who will be reviewing these cases, again, there's about 390,000 people on Medicaid in Nebraska, and they're short-staffed at about 15%. So that's another issue that's going to plague, even if you do have any questions or need your coverage reviewed, then there's going to be some issues. There's going to be some service issues with low staffing.
You're going to be on hold for a little minute.
Yeah, that part. So again, keep that in consideration. And actually there's some other job conversations that we're going to have here in a second.
Let's take a quick break. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, ghost listeners. We'll be back. Stay tuned. 8:24 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, we'll be right back. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd, all of you chat chimers, ghost listeners. It's going down. How you guys feeling out there on this day off? You guys sleeping in, feeling good? If you miss any parts of the show this morning because you're sleeping in on your holiday, then you can definitely check us out a little later on in the day. Watch the show in its entirety on YouTube and on Facebook, First Sky Omaha, the YouTube and Facebook channels. Really appreciate you guys and all your support. We know that there's only a few people that's going to get up and do some chat chiming in the morning, and it's growing.
Man.
But it's also a good thing when you can go back and check out the show, check out the comments when you check out the show, and add to the comments if you want to as well. And of course, if you have anything that's on your hearts and minds, you can go to Friends of First Sky Omaha, the group page, post it there, and that'll set us up to talk about it the next show. So appreciate everybody's support, everybody's help. Can't do this without you. And as you know, we call you guys chat timers, but you're actually our co-hosts and friends and family at this point now too.
Yeah,
so just really appreciate all of you and you know, everything how it is that we learn so much from everybody all the time, and that's what this is all about. So we hope that you're learning something from us as well.
Man, each one teach one.
There you go. Buddy, what else is on the agenda? 8:27 right now, if you believe in the concept of time. About a half an hour left in the show. What do we got on the
just in this last 30 minutes or so of the show, I wanted to continue where I left off as far as talking about staffing, talking about jobs. Of course, mentioning that the reviewers of the state jobs of the state that will be reviewing Medicaid coverage, they're short staffed, and that's not just in that area. There's a lot of short staffing. There's a lot of job shortages throughout the state, and one of the issues or one of the main things that we're trying to address, or main ways we're trying to address that, should I say, is this 335 Economic Recovery Act funds and some of the funds that are hopefully going to stimulate job creation, specifically in North Omaha. And one of the main ways to do that, or the main ways that is being done, is the business park. That's one of the main projects that Senator Wayne has been pushing. And I believe that was one of the ones that was earmarked before the money even came through, or as far as the bill was even enacted. But $60 million has been granted to the OEDC, Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce, to create plans for the $60 million business park development in North Omaha. The decision by the Nebraska Department of Economic Development is an incremental step forward for a potential new airport business park, which was again pitched as a potentially major employment center in North Omaha. The development is likely to be one of the largest single projects funded by the Economic Recovery Act. And Mike Maroney, who's the CEO of the OEDC, which did will be leading the project. He says for industrial type businesses that will come in and create jobs and business opportunities, it's a tremendous opportunity. He says we've just got to make sure we do the best job we can to make that happen. The state, of course, announced recently that it will give a $400,000 planning grant to each of two nonprofits, OEDC and the chamber-related Omaha Development Foundation. The state, then will choose a plan and grant up to $60 million to acquire and assemble land and develop sites ready for such businesses as manufacturers, warehouses, and distributors to build on. So again, OEDC and the chamber-related Chamber of Commerce Omaha Development Foundation will be developing plans, and whichever plan wins will get the funds and will push forward on this airport park. Excuse
me. So this is one of the ones that everybody is talking about.
One of the main ones.
We've been talking about it. I remember talking about this a year ago, even before like some of the money, the LB 1024 even came about. They were talking about this industrial park situation. A lot of people are always talking about what Mike Maroney's doing, OEDC is doing. There's a lot of property he owns around North Omaha. But we also have a big concern about whether or not any of these kinds of big projects are going to be happening with any black-owned companies, which, OEDC is. If they get the bid, then there will be a black-owned company that's working in North Omaha on a major project, a major, $60 million project. So there's a lot to be said about all those things, and we can all have our personal feelings about it all. But really, we're talking about what's actually happening here, which is that there's money earmarked for this complex. This complex will probably, hopefully, bring more jobs to North Omaha, more living wage jobs. That is,
Mm-hmm.
in order to be able to work, there's closely to the area. So there's some benefits here at this complex happening. That's even just on the ground level. On you can go get a job level, but a lot of other kind of economic stimulation going on there. So really, all I'm looking at right now is the facts on these things. We're
Mm-hmm.
just trying to see who's going to win the bid, where the money's going, what the complex is going to be about, what it's going to bring. It'd be interesting to get some information on if there's any major companies that are looking at the space. Do they already have people lined up to look at the space to come in and put their industry there and provide those jobs? How's it? How uh, there's chat chimers that are concerned about the construction and the building and the contracts to make that thing happen. There are also chat chimers that are concerned about what company is going to be there when it gets built, and there's chat chimers that are concerned about whether or not there's going to be living wage jobs in those places,
Mm-hmm.
or if it's going to be really marketed to outside of North Omaha. How is it really going to go down? It's going to be marketed to Iowa, since it'll be pretty close to Council Bluffs at that point as well. Is how will this affect the community is really kind of the question. Excuse me. So lots of good questions, and this is at that point where we're ready to keep our eye on the thing. Right now, it'd be a whole lot of opinions about what's happened in the past with these entities, but those again are just our own personal feelings or opinions about it. Right now, I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to see what's going to happen. I really
Yeah.
just want to see what's going to happen with it.
Yeah, as far as the plan goes, the actual number of jobs that are supposed to be coming into the community as a result of this project, around 1,700 jobs expected to be provided by
A lot
this
of jobs.
business park. It is a lot of jobs. It is a lot of jobs. And could change, some lives, definitely, if it's livable wages,
Yeah.
if it's an actual wage.
Ghost Listener 402 says, "Did you say OEDC is black owned?" Yes, I did. It's black owned. Mike Maroney's black. Also, Ariel's 402 says, "With the streetscape coming to 24th at Street BID means years of headaches."
Mm.
Yeah, a lot of construction. We've already dealt with a lot of construction around those areas anyway. It will be a lot more construction for sure.
Oh
I
yeah,
see
a
some
lot.
headaches coming on that.
I mean,
Um,
but it's going to happen regardless. I mean, expect a lot of there's a lot of projects. I mean, you look at this is it. I've kind of been getting the feeling over the last, I want to say last 5 years. I've had the feeling like, man, give it about 15, 20 years, Omaha is going to look completely different. And we're seeing that. We're seeing the boom, if you will. I mean, you got to look at all the projects that are happening. None of these are happening in a silo. It's all happening now. I mean, you got the Crossroads project that's being developed. You got the Midtown Tiff Alley, as we're calling it, that's being developed. You got development coming to 16th within the next 5 or so years, 24th within the next 5 or so years. We just talked about last week, Ames Avenue. They're looking at doing some transportation updates and some things on Ames Avenue over the next couple years. So there's going to be a lot of development and a lot of change to the city, and the questions that you're asking are applicable to all of it. Who's going to develop it, who's going to get the jobs. We know jobs are coming. Who's going to get them? And I think we should be asking these and striving to find answers and solutions and making sure that we're not left out of it, because this could be either the beginning of the end or the beginning of the beginning. This can really change some lives as far as seizing the opportunity and a lot of the money change hands.
I saw it. Oh, that was okay. I'm thinking of this. I had the 16th Street stuff that was going on. I thought that I had pulled an article for that, but that was actually the airport
Yeah.
uh, situation there. Yeah, that was the one that Chardell was speaking on, right, in that article.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So we still haven't really heard too much about that 16th Street development situation yet. But we didn't, I did know that the airport development was in the works first, and I figured that would probably be built first. They're saying that having big industry ability to have big industry there would provide all these jobs and things like that. So like that's going to be a given. A lot of space out there to work with if they're going to grab it. We'll see. Wanda Lewis in the chat. OADC is black run. It's an organization and is not owned by Mike Maroney. Mike is on payroll. Didn't know that.
That's interesting. I mean, he is the CEO, which is a job.
CEO. Okay, so he's CEO, but that means that he's getting paid. It's the OEDC is black run. So then is there a board? Like what's the situation with OEDC as far as it being black run but not owned by Mike Maroney?
It's a good question.
Yeah, good question. My experience with him too is when I came to town, everybody was like, you need to go talk to Mike Maroney about getting the Allen Showcase back because he owns that building, and so I also know that he owned. Well, I was under the impression that he owned like the first Culture House, all that stuff that's right there on 24th. All those things in those buildings because he was charging rent, and then he gave him a deal in the beginning, and then with the caveat that after they get their business up and rolling, the rent would go up, and also that he would not allow the sale of certain buildings. So that's why I guess I'm just assuming ownership. You got
here's the board. Yep, here's the board. But there's a lot of black people on the board. There's Brenda Council, Court Bonner, who's actually my insurance agent. John Pierce, I'm not familiar with, but Ernest White.
Oh, Johnny Pierce. Yeah, okay. So it's black run. This is the board. Mike Maroney is CEO. I guess this is really all we really know about it, and that they own a bunch of properties around North Omaha. Yeah, and their offices are the Dreamland building, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've asked Mike Maroney to come on in the past. He didn't have really his desire to do that. But that was back in Mind and Soul days. It's a different day now. We might be able to talk to him or someone from OEDC and find out what's going on there. But they're one of the two entities trying to get bids. The other entity is the Chamber of Commerce based company.
It's called the Department. No, I just had it. Yeah, the Greater Omaha Chamber of Commerce. I just had it. Here it is. The Omaha Development Foundation is what it's called.
So I don't know nothing about them. Who is that?
It's a chamber related organization. Let's see. Omaha Development Foundation.
Maybe we can find out who's on the board the same way. So again, just to reiterate, what I'm understanding is that $60 million is going to this airport project. There's going to two entities are going to be bidding. The best bid will win. One of the entities is a black run organization that Mike Maroney is CEO of, and the second one is a Chamber of Commerce organization or associated with the chamber that we're looking now to see if we can find out who's running that and what's going on there. Now, I don't know if that's going to give us any insight on what's going to happen, but at least we can know who the players are in this situation. Mike. Mm-hmm.
I looked into it. It took me to the Omaha Community Foundation.
Oh, so Community Foundation,
which is familiar.
Community Foundation is a funder. That doesn't necessarily they're not developers. Omaha Community Foundation is not necessarily going to build the complex, whereas OEDC could develop it. So there's some other entities involved there, but Omaha Community Foundation is a funder.
Well, yeah, as it stands, and it's really kind of funny how this whole thing played out because the state initially announced the application window, and then this Omaha Development Foundation basically was chosen, and they came back and reopened the window after they found that there were quote unquote technical challenges with the applications. Again, the Department of Economic Development originally planned to give out just one $400,000 planning grant. The department actually awarded the grant in December to the Omaha Development Foundation, but the state later pulled back the award and reopened the applications. And that's when the OEDC applied the second time around and actually scored the highest of three other applicants The other applicants were the Nebraska Enterprise Fund and then the Omaha real estate development firm White Lotus Group.
Oh man, White Lotus applied.
Yep, White Lotus applied, and
Wow.
OEDC outscored them and kind of set up set up the competition or the bidding war, if you will, between OEDC and the department, or not the Department of Academic, but the Omaha Development Foundation. And as far as development or who will be building this, it does state that the OEDC will actually not be building it; they will be planning it, and then the Burlington Capital will be behind it as well. Or no,
man.
It says OEDC is partnering with the private firm Omaha-based Burlington Capital Construction Services for the planning grant and potentially the development itself.
Anybody know about Burlington Capital? Anybody work for them? I'm gonna jump into the chat. Rick Fulton in the house. Good morning to you. He says, "What I'm confused about is why some of the federal money can be given out by the Nebraska Department of Economic Development, and other federal money has to be driven out by a bill passed by the legislature." I kind of got a little bit of a grasp on those two processes, but I'm not. I can't say I'm 100% either, bro. So it's something I would definitely have to go dig in and look at.
Yeah, later on in the chat, he also mentions we should bring Trevor Brooks on the show, who was also quoted in this article. Department's officials decided to give grants to two applicants because, according to Trevor Brooks, who is Chief Strategy Officer for the department, he says providing different perspectives, again, allowing the two entities to come up with a plan would benefit the North Omaha community and the state overall going into the next phase of choosing who's going to get the opportunity to develop the overall airport business park.
I wonder if somebody raised the fuss about, because it sounded like they were just going to give it to somebody, and then somebody came and said, "Hey, you got to open this up to some other people." And then all of a sudden now it's a bunch of applicants.
And that's interesting too. Like, I'm glad you brought that up. Like the technical challenges with the applications. I wonder what that was. It seems like there was a window and not everyone's application went through, or something happened where I do think, now that you ask that, it does make sense, or I can see someone kicking up some dust or saying like, hey, why did this happen this way?
And which the only black run entity that I'm assuming is Maroney and them, because I've heard of them doing something like that before. Making sure that there was they kicked up some dust on the closed door processes that's always going on, where they just handing people stuff. But I'm not sure. I'm just speculating. Tenaya Patterson says, another underbid by 50%, then asked for 150% more. Maybe one of them kind of situations. Also, Rick Fulton says the rules are being made up as they go along. That's what it feels like. It feels like they decided they're going to do a thing, and then somebody kicked up some dust, and so they here, okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll put this together this way so that you guys can all bid, and then we'll just pick the best ones to bid. Not sure. Rick Fulton says George Acola works for Mike Yanni at Yanni's Burlington Capital.
Okay.
This is the first time I've even heard about this business. We gotta dig in and find out what's going on here with Burlington Capital. They're the ones that now. So the bid is for the plan.
The plan, right?
And Burlington Capital has already been picked to build out this situation over here by the airport.
If OEDC, so if again it's between the Omaha Development Foundation and OEDC. If OEDC's plan gets the bid. Again, it's a $400,000 grant to form the plan, and then whoever plan is choosing will get the $60 million to develop it.
And OEDC's plan involves
Burlington Capital. To either help with the plan or do the development itself.
Okay. Wanda Lewis says, I believe that nothing is fair unless it becomes available to everyone that has interests, not a select few. Me too. Tonight Patterson says textbook antics. Same thing happened with the cleaning bid. Ghost Listener 402 says Trevor Brooks, Mia in North Omaha.
MIA. Okay.
MIA in North Omaha. Okay. Trevor Brooks, MIA in North Omaha. Got it. Rick Fulton says Chris Rogers worked with Mike Yanni, Burlington Capital, to build the downtown kids jail.
Okay, I've heard of Burlington Capital, not sure where, but that might be it.
All right. Again, this is what we're doing. We're trying to decipher, break down, figure out, get some facts, and see what's up. So I like the suggestions on who to try to bring on the show. So we'll definitely write. Matter of fact, let me get those down right now before I lose the chat. But we definitely, excuse me, definitely need to talk to some people here about something. So somebody from OEDC, of course. And who? Let me go up in the chat a little bit more and say who are you guys talking about that we ought to talk to? Let me see.
Trevin Brooks.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. So we'll figure this out. And somebody from Burlington, even. Well, like I said, that's not even until, like I said, if they get there. Oh, what's this? I pulled up.
This is the Burlington board.
Aha.
Not familiar with any of these people, but
this
is Michael Yanni.
Okay.
Not familiar with any of these people.
No, me neither. I mean, like I said, this is the first. I don't know anything about Burlington at all. So
they deal in real estate, international agribusiness, and venture capitalism.
Okay. Venture capitalism.
Mhm.
Rick Fulton was saying Chris Rogers worked with them for the downtown kids jail. So maybe if we can look on their site and see what projects they've been working on or what they're doing, and then come across some of that stuff. But that's what that's about. So now if that's who Mike Marone, if that's who OEDC is planning on using if they win the bid, then they're connected with Chris Rogers. They're connected with Burlington Capital. So yeah, everybody kind of got sounds like they got their team ready for if they win this bid. It'd be interesting to find out how they came across being able to bid in the first place. Really would like to know that part. What happened there in that story?
That's a good question. As far as the application process, as you see there, it was already some difficulties, some technical difficulties, but I don't remember hearing that, like anyone interested in coming up with a plan for this. More so just kind of heard Senator Wayne speaking about it, but didn't really get the details. And to find out that, this award was potentially sent out in December is interesting as well. And then they had to kind of backtrack.
Very, very true. So let's put a pin in that one. We'll come back and look at that. We'll keep our eye on it. It'll be one of those evergreen topics that not evergreen, but it'll be a continuing topic for us to get to the bottom of, and just kind of see what's going on there for sure. Ghost Listener 402 says facts are everywhere. North Omaha needs to be aggressive. Rick Fulton says Burlington has a long track record of building things. Yanni is a banker, mover, and a shaker in town. Okay. Wanda Lewis says the collection of the bids are also of concern. The collection of the bids. Yeah. Interesting, man. I'm trying to zoom out, look at the big picture of this. Pretty soon, North Omaha will look very different, as you're talking about, with this huge complex that's right next to the airport, which the airport is also getting a bunch of new construction and is about to expand in a bunch of different ways too. So a lot of that'll look a lot differently, man. A lot of people will be driving that way instead of the other way for jobs. Hopefully, we'll see. Rick Fulton says you guys should get Wendy on your show to talk about LeBron in the NBA, bro.
Is that something he would do? Is that something he would if he's down to come on? If he's down to come on, we would love to have him. Brian Windhorst, man, gets down.
Yes, please. Talk to Buddy, man. He's been trying to put a sports segment together on this for since back in the Mind and Soul days. So yeah, with that. I think you're right, Rick Fulton. The airport park is a good idea.
Yeah.
Appreciate it. Yeah, please ask him. Yeah, we would love to have him on. That'd be great.
In regards to the airport park, though, I do want to kind of end on this note as far as regardless of who builds it, what businesses will come. As this article is stating that there aren't any real businesses that have explicitly like signed on. I think Senator Wayne said there was one construction business that is interested. Maroney is also saying there's several businesses that have indicated strong interest. But as far as this article in the Omaha World Herald states, there hasn't been any explicit like people signed on and locked in, any contract signed for this business park. So that is something else to look out for.
Definitely. Sounds good. Like I said, we'll try to get somebody on. I'd love to see some plans, what people got, what people have in mind. You never know. We're connected to a whole bunch of companies and stuff like that too that want to come to North Omaha and do some business. Maybe one of these places in this complex would work. So it just really depends on what the plan is, and I can't imagine them having a plan without already having talked to some folks about who wants to come. I mean, it's always kind of based that around. If Microsoft is interested in coming or something like that, then you're gonna build your then your plan for your complex is gonna be different. So how are they gonna make a plan without having at least people in mind that they want to come? We'll see. Or yeah, Wanda Lewis says, you mean who will they allow? Good question.
Well,
Brooks
according
says, go ahead.
According to Trevor Books, as far as who they allow, they have been speaking to businesses all over the globe. He says there are, again, a lot of businesses interested, but the interesting part is what's kind of keeping them away. He says a lot of times whenever we think about various communities, even downtown, because the infrastructure is older, it's harder to sell some of those areas. So this creates an opportunity for us to create shovel-ready opportunities for businesses. Again, this business park being a new development with, of course, newer infrastructure.
There you go. Like to see how it's gonna pan out, man. We got new development still sitting up on 72nd Street. When you think about it, that people ain't never got into. I passed by them buildings in front of Target and all that. They've been sitting there for years. New development that never got filled. So yeah, we'll see. Ghost Listener 402 says, so these jobs are either help people afford to leave North Omaha or new non-black families purchase everything.
That's tough.
Brooks says, I wonder if it will make my property value go up since it's near the airport area. Yep. This is the reason why people are knocking on your door every other day trying to get it now. That's exactly why. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll leave it there and move on. It's 8:52 right now if you believe in the concept of time. You want to lighten me around a little bit before we get to some haps?
Yeah, if you have some haps, I only have
just the bills.
The bills and just one last article. We talked about COVID. Actually just one last article talking about these kids, the child labor, talking about jobs. We'll end up with this. One of the country's largest cleaning services for food processing companies employed more than 100 children in dangerous jobs at 13 meatpacking plants across the country, one of which was in Nebraska. And this is a story that we talked about when it broke, and now there has been some decisions in this investigation. The department officials searched 3 meatpacking plants owned by JBS, also Packers Sanitation Services Incorporated, and Turkey Valley Farms in Nebraska and Minnesota, and they investigators found 31 underage workers as young as 13. They also searched headquarters in Keeler, Wisconsin. Underage workers were found in plants in about 8 different states. At least 3 of those minors, including a 13-year-old, suffered burns from chemicals used for cleaning at the plant in Grand Island, officials say. And also some of the children worked overnight shifts and were also enrolled in schools during the day. A department spokeswoman, Rhonda Burke, said in an email. The company's vice president of marketing, Gina Swenson, says in a statement Friday that the company has a zero tolerance policy against such employing practices, employing anyone under the age of 18. And as soon as the company became aware of the allegations, she says it conducted audits and hired an outside law firm to help strengthen its policies. PSSI, which is the cleaning agency, has also conducted additional training for hiring managers, including on spotting identity theft. None of the minors identified in the investigation still work, so all of them have been released of their duty. According to the Department of Labor, they have also not been identified, has also not identified any managers aware of improper conduct that are currently employed by the company. So again, it seems like they have pretty much cleaned house. But there is a price tag attached to that. Again, $1.5 million in fines have been handed down to the cleaning service. So yeah, some people better lose their jobs with all that money having to be paid out. But again, just a crazy situation when you think of working conditions for children, minors. Again, some as young as 13 years of age.
Somebody earlier in the chat refreshed on me, so I can't go up and find it. But I think, was it Arrows 402? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think so. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I think it was the mayor
saying that they don't mind kids having jobs under certain circumstances. So maybe that's something that we can talk about another time and dig a little deeper into. What's going on with you? You having an earthquake over there or something? You all right?
I'm sorry, as the camera. I'm trying to scroll and find the statement. I apologize.
So this 7.2 didn't hit Atlanta. So we can talk about that another time, but I don't think it applies to this situation here where kids were getting chemical burns and all kinds of stuff was going on. It didn't sound like they're getting fined for the conditions, not for the fact that kids were working. So it looks like they might not mind kids working either. So,
well, I mean, they say as under 18, is against company policy. But yeah, I mean, I was working at 13, 14, but I wasn't, working with dangerous chemicals in a factory overnight. Like that.
You had a contracted job at 13, 14?
I don't even know if it was contracted, to be honest. I was working at, working.
It's
right.
Legal for you to be 13 working.
Right. Working at a golf course, actually. Just helping out in the clubhouse, washing golf carts and things like that.
You get paid
I think
cash?
my first job, I think, was Burger King at 15.
Yeah, that's where you signed. Yeah. And you can, and at 15, you have limited hours. Limited pay, so on and so forth. Right.
Not working overnight. I don't even think I was allowed to work overnight at Burger King, actually.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I would definitely check it out. I want to jump into before we move too far down the line here. That woman, Miss Erica Felt, is jumped in. She says that she jumped in, slept in this morning on the holiday. So that's what's up. She's gonna go back and check out what we talked about in the beginning with the 50th anniversary. Then she says, I received the latest Omaha Star in the mail, and it was much different than usual. I actually read some articles. Point was made that Black Omaha is no longer just north. Pressure said the same with the numbers. I like that. Ghost Listener 402 says, hopefully this opens eyes to include us outside of North Omaha, most deaf. It's funny you say that, man, because we've been moving in this direction of understanding that first it went North Omaha. As a matter of fact, we were mind and soul with a North Omaha perspective. It was Omaha radio with a North Omaha perspective. Yep. Then it moved to North and South Omaha. Then it moved to East Omaha, so we can encompass all of that. And now it's moving. It's another progression too, where we're understanding that it's about the Black community. It's everywhere. Really what we're talking about, and we're kind of everywhere in the city. So then if it's not a location in an area, I mean it's still a discussion about that, because we talked about historical district being 24th and Lake Street area. We talk about the majority. There's still a majority of Black folks that are living in North Omaha that will benefit from the development, the 16th Street development, maybe the airport development. That's still a thing. Mm-hmm. But it's also how do we serve the whole African American Black community, more community, however you want to call it, in all of Omaha. I'd like to discuss that in a future show. Real quick, Pop says my first full-time job was 9 years old in an automotive shop in Omaha. Was that legal?
Probably not.
Rick Fulton says send me an email. And I'll email Windhorst and see if he'll come on. I appreciate that. Shoot us your email address. There it is. There it is, right there. Okay, cool. Appreciate that very much. That would be cool, definitely. Brooke says I was working with summer youth program in Omaha. How old were you when you were doing that, Brooke? 14. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I guess. Let's see. My first contracted job was 15.
Yeah, I mean, that's about, 14, 15. Yeah, I think you should be a freshman in high school around that time. Learning how to drive, that's kind of those changes. First, driving, getting into working, kind of dipping the toe into adulthood, if you will.
Dipping the toe, he says. It's 9 o'clock, man. We already talked a little bit about those bills. Go back and check out the beginning of the show. So you can see what bills are happening on what days. You can kind of go up and support if that's what you feel like doing. Really appreciate it if understanding that that's where we're at right now. I'm trying to write down this thing before I lose it. Definitely gonna hit up Brother Fulton. So go back and check those out. There's letters that can be written today. There's bills that Brother McKinney is heading up that you can show up in force tomorrow and Wednesday. Definitely check that out. That's really kind of all the haps that's happening this week. We wanted to
Mhm.
get that out there so that you can know what's going on this week as far as how you can support certain bills. Any particular bill in your mind, buddy, that needs some particular attention this week?
Yeah. Well, as far as just the timeliness of it, tomorrow, LB 629, which is a shout out to Brianna Fool, board woman Brianna Fool, put some respect on her name, for
Hey,
jumping into the chat and reminding us LB 629, which is presented by Senator McKinney, is the changes provisions for middle income workforce housing investment act. So again, this is to address housing not just for middle income but low income families. Again, you can write comment. Today you have about 3 hours, I believe. I think that's, or is it 12? I always get confused. Is it midnight? Is 12 p.m. midnight, or is that afternoon?
12 p.m. is afternoon.
That's
Yeah, it
afternoon.
has to be
Okay.
before noon. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has to be before noon for you to make comment. But LB 629 is the bill that we should be looking out for. If you can make it down there tomorrow, great. If not, please take some time, maybe over your lunch break, take a few, about 10-15 minutes, even if that, to fill out a comment to support these senators.
That's what's up. Jari Cool out in the house. Good morning to you. He says, I was moving our neighbor's lawn, mowing our neighbor's lawns and raking leaves and shoveling snow at 10 years old.
That's a hustle.
Cash hustle. That's a
Yeah, that's a
cash hustle.
hustle.
That woman said, my first cash job was 13 in 83. Another cash
Okay.
hustle. So we got a bunch of cash
I
hustles
mean,
going on.
yeah.
First time you sign a contract, or your parents got to sign something, or whatever the deal is, so you can have a job at a place that pays taxes like that and gives you a check, then there's a whole lot of stuff in place in the state that a whole lot of restrictions to what you can do there. And I think working with chemicals ain't one of them. So we got
nah.
I'm gonna end up with what Ghost Listener 402 just said. We need a black agenda, keeps focus and people on task. Funny, because we do have a Black Agenda Alliance that we consider partners that are on that thing too. So support them as well, and we'll continue to have them on and talk about what some of this agenda is, and we can move in that direction. Definitely want to talk about that. Some of this is location based, but a lot of it is. Yeah, but again, if we're trying to serve the black community, then we gotta have a black agenda, and work with people that are working with people of color in that way. We also are consider our partners in South Omaha as well, Spanish speaking partners over there, and also indigenous and also allies. I mean, we're trying to get everybody mobilized here, but it is definitely based around a black agenda, and we feel like that's where everything is going to be born from in the first place. So that's where we're serving first.
Yeah.
Oh, not cash. She said that's when I got my first paycheck at 13. See, I don't know. First hustles was 7 years old, going door to door asking to take out the trash for cash. Woo, now that's
Okay.
that's old school hustler right there for real.
Man. Okay.
That's what's up, man. See, that's what I'm talking about. There's this special thing when it comes to that hustle and motivate. Maybe because I'm from the West Coast. I don't know, but that hustle and motivate means something, man, for real.
Gotta go get it.
Appreciate everybody who's staying with us on this particular day here. This is President's Day, I guess, which is a holy day for America. We don't really celebrate it, so we're out here doing our thing, and appreciate you coming on doing your thing. If you miss any parts of this show, definitely go back to YouTube and Facebook and check out the show in its entirety and read the comments, because that's where a lot of the conversation is going on as well. You can also add to the comments there too, and of course join the group page, Friends of First Sky Omaha, and add your comments there as well. Wanda Lewis delivered papers at 12. Y'all was hustling early, boy.
Yeah, I was selling golf balls at 12. I would walk around the course, all the balls that golfers hit outside the course, I would collect them, clean them, and resell them.
Man,
it was eating
entrepreneurial.
Like 50 cents a golf ball. That racks up kind of quick.
Oh, thanks for reminding me about that too. She said, speaking of the president, President Carter is now in hospice home right now, so he's about to pass away. I came into the world with my president was President Jimmy Carter, and he's been around a long time. Still, last time I saw, he was 90 years old or something, working for Habitat, building houses and stuff for people.
Really?
So, yeah, he was doing stuff right up until can't move no more. So, shout out to President Carter, man. If he would have stayed in place, if he was powerful enough, things would have been different. Things would have been different. Right before Reagan. I'll just say that.
Okay. That's why. Yeah. But I hear even, without the Reagan stuff, he was just one of the more liked presidents and more
You want to talk about what a liberal Democrat is? He's probably the example of what they think of a proper liberal Democrat is. He was just all about helping everybody do everything. Okay. I mean, to a degree, but
right.
Are we gonna get out of here? We're late, buddy. You got some words for the people?
Man, as always, appreciate, love, and thank everyone for embarking on this experience with us, this journey to try to figure things out, try to get to the bottom of it. So we appreciate everyone for tuning in to First Sky Omaha in the morning. Of course, big shout out to all the chat chimers, but even the Ghost listeners. We appreciate you and love you all the same. Of course, make sure you check us out, Friends of First Sky Omaha on Facebook. Also check out the First Sky Omaha official page on Facebook. Also be sure to check us out at firstskyOmaha.com. We're still working on that website. Should be coming soon, so look out for that. And without further ado, man, take care of yourselves. Catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B, take it away.
Pop says, wonderful show, great way to start the week. Love to all the First Skyers, and see you on Wednesday. Appreciate you, Pops. That woman said, wishing everyone a marvelous Monday. Drink water and be good to yourselves. Appreciate you. Be good to yourself as well. I want to thank our special guests that came on today. Us, me and Buddy. Appreciate us for getting up on this tired Monday with a case of the Mondays type morning, and coming on and doing our thing. But it's a labor of love. We don't like going without it, because it really is a great conversation that we have with y'all. So we really appreciate that. So shout out to all of you for coming on as well. Thanks to the Omaha Tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. Thanks to all of you, the chat chimers, for allowing us to speak with you. And thanks to all the reoccurring sponsors of the channel as well, the $10 a month, $25 a month, $50 a month people that help us keep this rolling, so that we can keep this conversation going and get to some action items, and all through a Black agenda, which is really what we're all about. And when it comes down to it, it's the more agenda, if you want to call it whatever you want to call it. You know who we're talking about. We're talking about us, like-minded community here that really can help each other, thrive and survive, not just survive, but thrive. And that's what this is about too. So appreciate it. Pop says, yes, today's guests were exceptional. Thank you, Pops. Appreciate that. Brooke says they paid. She's still talking about this job. They paid us to go to Crete and talk to counselors to talk about college and watch videos like Amistad. Okay.
Amistad. All right.
Pay you to watch some slave movies. Okay. Thanks. She says, great show. We appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
Paul B. the Dove and Buddi3 Da Gawd, and we are out. You guys have a great one. Peace. Oh, bro.
Haps.
Outro disappeared on us.
Really?
Yeah, they tripped. Okay. Well, Vanglorious. This is brought to you by the red, the black, and the green.
With the key.
By any means necessary.